Hello my friends, this is Eric Merritt at DAZ 3D, and in this video we're going to talk about the camera editor. You can find the camera editor in the Lights and Cameras activity. Select the Cameras tab, and then you've got options for presets and editor, and of course we're going to be talking about the editor page here. We've got one camera in the scene right here, and you can select that right there. You can also select cameras from your scene. So just like you can select anything else, you can select cameras there. Now, selecting a camera and looking through the camera are two very different things. So you can see that the camera is selected right now, and because it's a scene object, I can move it around with the universal tool just like I can any other object like that. But cameras can be looked through just like views. So you can look through, look at your scene through the views. There's the right view. Look at the top view, and then cameras can be looked through too, just like lights as well, and we'll talk about that in a lights video. But let's look through camera 1, and you'll notice we've got a really nice kind of framed image here. This is set up for my final rendering. Focused on her face, got a background element and a foreground element there. Let's go back to the perspective view. So as I said, views are not scene objects, cameras are. If we look in here, you don't see any views, but the camera can be selected. But cameras have some special little manipulators, and let's look at them right here. This one is, if you drag that, you'll notice that it changes the value here of the focal length. And we can drag the slider to do the same thing. This one here is your focal distance. Now, a couple things you need to know on this. When I drag this around, it only really seems like it works great from the top view, because that's kind of the pivot it's on. So you can drag it, and you'll see we can make the focal length go right there, or focal distance. But we want the focal distance to be right on her face, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. If you hold on a Mac, it's a Command key, and it's a Control key on the Windows machine. You can restrict that so it doesn't move around. It just changes that distance, and you're not actually, if I let that go, you can move that all around and place that anywhere you want it for your focal point. But once again, Command or Control key, hold that down and it restricts it just to go along that blue line there. Okay? So that's focal distance, and then you've got your f-stop, and that one's really only noticeable when these depth of field planes are on. Let's turn that off and show you what happens. By default, cameras come on or are created without depth of field on, so you'll need to turn that on to see these planes. But that f-stop just controls what portion of your image is going to be in focus. So anything back here is going to be out of focus, and anything in your foreground in front of this plane will be out of focus. Now, why is that important? Well, because you can have really cool image effects like you can with a normal camera on that. Let me show you a couple of those. Let's go to my render library. We're going to open up this one, and you'll notice in this image you've got it's very focused in the background, it's very focused in the foreground, and in the midground, which is our point of interest, is very focused as well. But let's compare that to this one, where you've got this great focus right here, but it's blurry in the background and it's blurry in the foreground. So it helps us give us a lot more weight on our area of interest, which is her face. So photographers out there, you'll notice you'll know this principle very well. But doing it in a 3D app where you can see those planes and know what's in focus before you look through the camera is kind of a fun thing. Alright, so those are the special manipulators that go along with the normal manipulation tools like the universal tool that you can use on any scene object. Something that you need to know is that because it's a scene object, you can kind of get in trouble with animation. So I just want to warn you that if you are looking through the camera, like camera 1, and let's just show you this. We'll go into pose and animate. Got the timeline open. First, let's look through the perspective view, and we'll move. Well, let's say we're animating something, so this head is moving. You don't have to worry about this if you're never doing any animation. It'll stay on frame 0, and you never have to worry about it animating. But if you've moved the playhead along at all, and you move the perspective view around, let's rotate it like that, hit play, nothing happens because views are not animatable. Cameras are, though, animatable. Let's look through the camera 1. And let's do the same thing. Let's rotate it like this. Now look what happens. We're actually animating that camera. Well, if you were just looking through the camera and you were just going, you know what, I just want to look, see where the edge of this view is, or this set is, and you're just playing around, maybe moving some objects in the scene, you're not realizing it, but you're laying down keyframes like this, a new one right here. Now watch. You'd be going nuts. You'd be thinking, what the heck did I do? So that can easily be remedied by clicking here above the keyframe and then hitting the delete keyframe button right here. And let's do that again over here. One thing you've got to realize is that looking through the camera without having it selected will still lay down keyframes. Let's go into the key or into the scene tab. Let's make sure that it's not selected. Let's hit the spotlight, for instance, and let's rotate that, and then let's play. And whether we realize it or not, we've laid down keyframes because we are looking through the camera and manipulating it with our navigation tools there. Okay, let's hit stop. Now let's hit the camera again, and you'll notice there's that keyframe. So let's delete that again. Alright, we're back to normal. The other thing you need to know is you need to know how to add and delete and rename cameras. First of all, we can easily rename this one. Let's name it, so you just go to the scene tab and let's name it final render. How's that? Alright, now to add a new camera, you can always go up to your create menu up here and select new camera. But let's go right here, add a camera. And what we want to make sure we do, let me show you this. Normally when you open this dialog box up, this will be closed. But let's open it up, and you see by default we apply the default settings. So when you accept that, what you're going to see is that you always get a camera in the same spot pointing the same direction, so in the negative Z direction, about right there, from there. And let's delete that one. And let's add another one with this second one. Apply active viewport transforms, and then it tells you you are currently looking through the perspective view. And what that means in plain English is you're going to adopt the position of the current view or camera. So right here, it's going to look, we're going to be looking at through the new camera just like we were looking through the perspective view. And let's hit that. And now you see these big crosshairs come across there. We're looking from behind the camera, and if we turn it around, you'll see there's the camera. And camera 1, of course, is in the scene. Now let me show you some cool things about cameras as far as aiming them. If we go back and look through this camera 1, and let's say we wanted to animate that hand, and we want to always have a camera on that hand. So let's select that hand and let's aim at it. I don't know if we got the hand. Aim at it again. Alright, so now we're looking at that hand. And of course the beauty about having multiple cameras in a scene is that we can always have that on that hand, and then we can jump around and do whatever we want in a view or another camera, and then we can jump right back into that camera there. And let's rename that camera from camera 1. Let's name it hand cam. And let me show you something cool. A property in cameras that is very unique, another thing that distinguishes it from a view, and that is you can point a camera at an object. So if we go under General, Miscellaneous, you'll see this Point At feature. And let's click on that, and you get this little dialog box that shows you all the objects in your scene. And I'm going to drill down, and we're going to go, let's go to the right hand. Select the right hand, hit accept, and now we're pointing at that, and it's always going to aim at it. Whether you move the hand or the camera, they will be locked together. Let's go out to the perspective view, and let me just show you. Let's get a good view of the camera and the hand. Alright, so that's good. Now watch what happens when I move this. It's always pointing right through that hand, no matter how I move it. Now if I grab the hand, actually let's just grab a hold of the body. We move that around. Look at that camera rotate. It's pointing at the hand no matter where the hand is moved. Anyway, that should give you a good idea to add, delete, rename cameras. Oh, by the way, delete camera, I don't know if I told you that. It's just, you can just hit the delete key like that. You can always go in and delete something by right-clicking on it in the Scene tab and say remove from scene. You can remove things like that spotlight. We have taught you how to go in and change properties on a camera. Camera's got to be selected, and you can select it here. If there's multiple cameras, you select them there. And then you go in and there's general properties, which are your translation, rotation, scale, that sort of things. Your display stuff. So you can turn a camera's visibility off like that, so it's out of your way. You can selectable, so it's not selectable. And then there's a bunch of them. Go in there and play around with these. There's some more things on the depth of field, whether the planes are visible or not. But go in and play around with those properties and kind of get a feel for all the things you can do with cameras. They're great to play with. And of course, that's the exciting time of your whole project, is once you start moving and manipulating cameras, because you're getting ready to render it. And that's, of course, the payday after all the work of getting stuff set up. So enjoy cameras, and we'll talk to you later.